Today, we're diving into the unwritten rules of the modern workplace. It can really feel like a maze out there. But what if you had a map? What if you had a toolkit? Well, let's build one together.
So, does this feel familiar? You're at work, you're trying your best, but it feels like you're playing a game and nobody bothered to give you the rule book. It's like you keep running into these invisible walls and you have no idea why. It is an incredibly common and, super frustrating feeling.
But the good news is, it really doesn't have to be that way. Today, we're going to unlock 3 essential toolkits, and these are all drawn directly from some expert sources. I want you to think of this as your new framework, your guide to mastering the game, understanding all the players, and ultimately taking real control of your career.
So, our journey today has 4 parts. First, we're going to start with the Mindset Toolkit, which is all about mastering your internal game. Then, we'll get into the Tactics Toolkit, which is for handling those all-important relationships. After that, we're going to decode the System Playbook. These are the official rules your company is using. And finally, we'll bring it all together with your 30-second decision.
Okay, first up, the mindset. Why start here?
Because any real, lasting success doesn't start with your boss or your paycheck or your company, it starts in your own head. You've absolutely got to master your internal game before you can even think about winning the external one.
This quote here, it really gets to the heart of it. We are what we do, and we do what we decide to do. Don't like the consequences of your decisions, change. Now, this isn't about blaming yourself, not at all. It's about recognizing that you, yes you, have way more power to steer your own ship than you might think.
So how do you actually tap into that power? Well, it boils down to these 3 C's. First up, change. Look, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. You can either be its victim or you can learn to be its master. Second is choice. You always have one. And remember, doing nothing, that's a choice too. And finally, consequences. You own the results of your choices. Getting these 3 ideas locked in your head is what flips the switch from you being a passenger to being the pilot of your own career.
And that leads us to maybe the single biggest mindset shift in this whole explainer. To make good choices, you have to understand what you really need. But what even is a need? Well, forget thinking of it as a vague want, like, I need more money. A need is actually a gap. It's the measurable space between your current results and your desired results.
Now, check out how this works in the real world. That old thought, I need more money, it becomes, the gap is between my salary and the market rate for my contribution. See that? Or I need more help transforms into the gap is between our current output and our team's goals. It's a huge difference, right? One is just a complaint. The other, that's a business case. And that one little shift changes everything.
All right, so you've got your mindset right. Now let's grab our second toolkit, the tactics. This is all about taking that internal clarity and actually applying it to the outside world. And we're going to start with the most critical relationship you have at work, the one you have with your boss. I bet this quote's going to sound painfully familiar to some of you. It's from a guide on working with bad bosses, and it says, he knows what we would all like, some more direction or guidance from him, but he doesn't do that. Ugh. It just feels like you're completely on your own, right? Flying totally blind.
There's actually a name for this type of manager, the no-boss boss. This is the person who provides little to no direction. And, they aren't always bad people. They might just be swamped or disorganized, or maybe they just hate managing. But whatever the reason, the result is the same. You're left to fill that leadership void, basically doing your job and their job for the price of one.
So what can you do? Well, just hoping they'll change is not a strategy. You need tactics. The key is to create your own structure. Document everything. Send emails to confirm what you talked about. And at the same time, you got to build your power base. That means doing your homework before you make a request, building relationships with other leaders, and hey, maybe even talking to your coworkers. A group raising an issue is a whole lot harder to ignore than just one person.
Okay, we've covered our internal mindset and our external tactics. Now it's time for the third and maybe most important toolkit, the System Playbook. This is where we pull back the curtain and look at the official, often totally invisible, rules that your employer is playing by.
This slide, this might be the biggest aha moment of them all. See, While you're feeling that a situation is unfair or that it's getting personal, your manager is often operating from a totally different playbook, one written by HR and legal. So while you're thinking, this feels personal, they're thinking, I'm documenting substandard performance. While you think, I'm just speaking my mind, they see it as managing insubordination. You're having an argument, they're following a procedure. You have to know their playbook.
And at the absolute foundation of that playbook is this legal idea called employment at will. It's pretty simple. In most jobs in the US, it means the company can let you go at any time, for pretty much any reason or no reason at all, as long as it isn't an illegal reason. It's a harsh reality, but you have to know it's the baseline.
So when problems do come up, companies don't just wing it. They follow a script, a very clear path called progressive discipline. It usually starts with a verbal chat, then it moves to a formal written warning, then a final warning, and then termination. Every single one of these steps gets documented, creating a paper trail that's designed to protect the company.
And here's why that is so important. While you are experiencing a workplace conflict, feeling frustrated, unheard, maybe angry, your manager could be methodically building a legal case against you. They are documenting your conversations, they're ticking boxes in their HR playbook. Look, this isn't about being paranoid. It's about being aware. It's about knowing exactly what game you're in.
Okay, so now we have our 3 toolkits: the mindset, the tactics, and the system playbook. It's time to put it all together. Because all of these tools, all this prep work, it's all leading to one critical moment: your 30-second decision.
30 seconds! That's it! That's all it takes!
This is the core idea from the book 30 Seconds. It says it only takes 30 seconds to decide to change your life. But then it adds the most important part. Getting to that point is what is more complex. And you know what that complexity is? It's everything we just talked about. The toolkits aren't the decision, they're what make a clear, powerful decision even possible. So here it is, your path forward. You use the Mindset Toolkit to get crystal clear on the results you actually want. You use the Tactics Toolkit to handle your current situation like a pro. And you use the System Playbook so you understand the rules and the real risks. Once you've done that work, once you have that clarity, you are finally ready to make your 30-second decision to act.
You've got the toolkits now. You understand the mindset, the tactics, and the system. The only question